these incidents oftentimes end up with these kids after these hazings or bullying. They go into depression, they go into cutting themselves, they go into harming themselves, harming others, alcohol and drug abuse. Like I said, more needs to be done. Now, that's the background. Someone in the media heard that we're researching a number of cases. I'm going to tell you about those cases at this point. On January 6th of this year, we sent what's called an any item notice. That's a notice that you have to send out saying, okay, government, I'm not happy. Here's what happened. Here's all the facts. Here's what I want. And so you put them on notice. They have a time period to respond to that. Copies of these notices go, we do a little overkill. We send them to more than absolutely necessary, but they typically go to the superintendents of the district, the boards of education, principals, and the Georgia Department of Administrative Services. Now, this particular case, this Douglas County case, does involve a hazing of a Douglas County High School student. We're continuing to investigate this particular case. We're looking into the possibility of additional hazing incidents that might have occurred there. As I said, we sent the notice in January. We haven't heard back from them. That's not unusual. Some people say, well, why haven't we heard back? I don't know, but it's often that we don't hear back, which ends up in a lawsuit. This particular case, we expect to be filing a suit, in this case, in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Georgia. We anticipate sometime early next week or certainly by the end of the month. The next case, we sent out a notice January 31st to the DeKalb County School District. This is another hazing incident, but this time we're talking about a middle school student. This incident occurred at the Ronald E. McNair Middle School. That's been publicized, I believe, as well. We have not received a response to that any item notice either. The next case, these were both student-on-student hazing, bullying type cases. This next case on February 12th, we sent an any item notice to Gwinnett County School District. This case involved a Gwinnett County school bus driver. I think that also received some media attention. At this particular incident involved a 15-year-old 10th grade student who assaulted, I think the person was arrested by, I think Gwinnett County PD is a person by the name of Jason Lyon, or Lyons, and we believe that there may be more. We continue to investigate that, and if anybody has information about that, we would encourage them to go to the local police there and report it. I did receive a response to this particular notice, and it said, hey, call our lawyer. I did. That was also in February. That call hadn't been returned yet. So, on March 19th, we sent a notice to the Carroll County School District. This case involved a Carroll County school employee sexually assaulting at least one Villa Rica High School student. Villa Rica police were very much involved in that case. There was an arrest made of an Alonzo White, and it's our understanding that the Carroll County school employee was in fact a guidance counselor. In this case too, we believe there could be additional victims out there. Again, we would urge them to talk to the police department about that and get these things reported. The next one involves DeKalb County School District. On April 5th, we sent DeKalb County School District a notice. This is a middle school student being sexually assaulted by another student. Now, this particular incident involves an autistic girl. And schools do have an escalated or higher duty and responsibility when they're dealing with these types of children that have these types of disabilities or any type of disability. It's our position that they failed her, and we anticipate filing a lawsuit in this case, certainly by the end of the month. The last case that I'm going to mention is in Washington County. We sent the notice to Washington County. We've been working on this case for several months. We sent our notice out to the Washington County School District today. At this point, we don't represent the approximately 16 students there that there could be more than 16, but we know of 16 because we have the indictment. And the United States Attorney for the Middle District of Georgia indicted, I believe it was Michael Allen Dendy, on 20-plus counts involving sexual misconduct against 16 or so students of the Washington County High School. This case would not be the Northern District. This would be a Middle District case we'd file. Now, all of these cases involve bullying, hazing, some type of sexual assault, sexual discrimination, and involve what we believe to be violations of Title IX. It's our position in all these cases that these schools have been deliberately indifferent to a dangerous condition or a dangerous actor that they knew of, should have known of, and then failed to properly respond. I mentioned the Appling County School District case earlier. That case was resolved in 2021 after almost 3 years of litigation. It could take 3 years to resolve these. If that's the case, we'll spend 3 years attempting to resolve them. I'm not going to identify the students. I'm not going to identify the parents. Y'all could get whatever public records are available. But if anybody has any questions that I think I can answer, I'd be happy to answer anything you might have.
Can you talk a little bit more about the Washington County case?
Well, there's not much more to say. There's an indictment that's probably that thick. I think it's public record. We got it publicly, and you guys maybe have better sources than I do. But the U.S. attorney there, I believe his name is Daniel Peach, or one of the U.S. attorneys in the Middle District, indicted Mr. Dendy on 20 counts. Now, there were
Earlier you said 16. Is it 16 or
20 counts, 16 students, okay? And we're not sure, nobody can be sure that's all, but that's all that we know of, and I feel safe in saying that's all the U.S. attorney knew of at the time he indicted Mr. Dendy, and it's our understanding Mr. Dendy's still incarcerated.
What was his role at the school?
I think he was a drama coach. That's right.
So he was a drama coach being accused of sexually assaulting at least 16 students?
I didn't say sexually assaulting. I think I said involved in sexual misconduct. So then there's varying degrees of sexual misconduct, not necessarily in this case, but in all cases it can go anywhere from an improper touching to what everybody presumes a sexual assault is when they say that. So I don't know all the particulars. I do know the particulars of anybody we represent, but I'm not going to go into those particular things right there. If you look at the indictment, you'll see all the misconduct that's alleged in there. I mean, we're talking about everything from photographs and a number of things.
But when you talk about deliberate indifference,
okay,
why do you think some of the school did, when you say like deliberately turning an eye benefit of deliberately turning an eye?
In my opinion, there is no benefit to deliberately. You're putting these kids in danger. If you know, for example, in one of the cases we had, the teacher had, there were reports of misconduct by the teacher in that employment situation. The school knew about that and hired him anyway, and then gave this particular teacher access to a lot of kids and a lot of situations that that person shouldn't have had. Like a drama coach in this situation is going to have maybe more special access to these kids than perhaps the English teacher or the math teacher might have. So did I answer that? I mean, it's just you know about it and you don't do anything about it. And that goes from anything from knowing there's a teacher that has a propensity for harming children in their employ or prior employment. So it's an actor, it's a condition. Some of these are students that are unruly and are known to injure other students. They need to do something about that. It's only if they know it. They have to know about it and then say, okay, it's not a big deal and we're not going to worry about it. They're not going to tell you that. For the most part, when we start depositions, they're like surprised. And it's our burden to prove what happened. It's our burden to show the deliberate indifference. And you have to get around the immunities too. I mean, that's the you can't sue the king argument. So, but you can sue the king. You don't always win.
And real quickly, the Gwinnett County Schools case you talked about on February 12th, you kind of trailed off. You just finished your sentence when you said 15-year-old 10th grade student, and you said who assaulted, and then you said Jason Lyons. Can you go back to that?
It was assaulted by Jason Lyons.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's incarcerated. He was arrested, but I don't know his status right now. But that was the assailant, not the student.
And in any of these cases, are they looking for any kind of monetary?
That's about all I can do.
I'm sorry?
That's about all I can do. I mean, I was a cop. I can't arrest anybody anymore. Now all I can do is file a lawsuit, hopefully get their attention, get them to do better. I mean, that, yeah.
How much you guys are suing for?
I never ask for an amount in a lawsuit. Sometimes there's an amount only because the law requires that in any item notice you put an amount in. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily the amount that we're going to seek in damages. It is an opportunity for them to say, okay, I accept, and here's the check. That's never happened to me. That just doesn't happen. But what we say in the annual item does not necessarily mean that's what we'd ask for in court or in a settlement. Okay?
Just wanted to reconfirm the 5 cases you outlined, the 2 DeKalb, Washington, Gwinnett, and Carroll. In terms of timeline, you said lawsuits will be coming in the coming days, within a month. What's just my accuracy? Where are you?
I think we have 2 or 3 of the complaints finished, and they'll just be filed very soon.
Very soon. Okay.
The other, I think there were 6 cases total that I mentioned.
There's
2. There's 2.
Gwinnett, Carroll, and
Washington. Okay, you're testing my memory now. Let me see.
Douglas. I don't think that's
Douglas, yeah.
So there's 6 that are lawsuits.
Well, there's no lawsuits right now.
But,
There's I think 2 or 3 that we have ready to go. They've been reviewed by us. We're comfortable with our facts. We've gone over the facts of the clients. They're ready to just get filed. The others, we're still in the process of, we know we're going to file, but they're not really ready to send to the court yet.
But you plan to sue 6 school districts?
We do. 5.
5.
Well,
5, yes.
you bring up another point.
That's what I was confused by. The 5 that you mentioned, you could just clarify the 5 that you just rallied off.
Yeah, there's 5 counties involved in this, in the ones that we talked about. One county has 2. There are additional cases that we are looking at. In fact, I'll be leaving after this meeting for South Georgia, where I'm meeting with 4 families of similar situations. One, the student was hurt so badly, he ended up being life flighted to a trauma center. So in all these cases, there's a varying degree of damage from only, and I hate to use the word only, but from psychological damages to extreme physical damages. It just depends on the case.
But the 5 you mentioned, meaning minus the Douglas, the first 5 you outlined,
Yeah.
their plan is to file a lawsuit
Yes.
for those 5 soon?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
And the ones in South Georgia were serious. I'm going down there. I anticipate we'll be filing there. And I think we have another one in North Georgia that we're looking at. So the 6 that I mentioned are ones that are very active, and by the end of the month, we expect to be filing.
You used the term hazing a couple of times.
Right.
Can you speak anecdotally maybe about what that looked like?
I guess y'all are going to get a copy of the lawsuits. These were, the 2 that I mentioned were both, I think, groups of students, whether they were in the band or in the baseball team, or a group of students hazing another student. And that's anything from, well, they both involve physical assaults.
And can you speak on an easy response to that would be, well, this might just be kids being kids. Can you speak to why it elevates to a Title IX violation?
We're not going to file suit on the kids being kids, and that's what I mentioned before, that, hey, look, just because somebody's getting a little hazed or somebody's getting, razzed or whatever, no, that's look, we'd like to do it. We're not publicly funded, so those kind of cases we just can't pursue. Is it right? No, it's not right. But not all cases can be pursued. So most of the ones, in fact, all the ones that I've mentioned are situations that if you're the parent, you are not going to be happy with how your child was treated. So it's more than saying, I don't like you.
Mr. Hewitt, with the Washington County case, can we have the correct spelling of Michael Allen Dendy?
M-I-C, I think it's A-L-L-E-N is his middle name, and it's D-E-N-D-Y, I believe.
D-E-N-D-Y?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.